and I'll talk to somebody who says, yeah, I don't tell them I'm the owner of the company either. I just, answer like I'm, one of the customer service reps, um, and typically get the call, yeah, I followed your recommendations, I bought it, and it just doesn't work. It's not the right size. I need it 2 inches longer, something ridiculous, because it just doesn't make that big a difference.
Right.
It's easily solvable. And so what I'll try and do is coach him on the phone, without making him feel like, hey, I don't want to give you what you want. Like I'll right up front say, I will give you whatever you want, not a problem. However, try this, take my recommendation, look at this video on our website, or, do this or do that, and I'll give some suggestions. And more times than not, it works out fine. We'll never hear from them again, or people will walk in our door. So for us, I kind of took the long way around. A lot of it started with education, and when you educate people and I, give you our product and show you how to use it and you have great success right away, there's no selling involved. You're like, great,
Yep.
where do I pay?
Welcome to Barbell Business. I'm Mike Bledsoe. I'm here with Doug Larson and Markus Gerszi, and we have traveled to El Cajon to visit RX SmartGear. We're here with the founder, owner, Dave Newman, and today we're going to be talking about how this all came to be. And we want to talk about, I guess, the CrossFit market, because you have a unique perspective on it. How long have you been operating in, you guys started in CrossFit, selling the ropes. You fell in love with, what got you falling in love with jump ropes anyway?
Not falling in love with it at all. Just like most people out there, really having a tough time with it.
You hated the jump rope.
Yeah, that was. Actually, surprisingly, I didn't hate it. I always thought it was a good jumper, but like boxing style jump rope and all that growing up. But CrossFit was the first exposure to double unders. So, like anybody else, without any kind of tutelage, I struggled, had a hard time. So, that was the one thing that of other things. I mean, I had a little bit of a gymnastics background, and weightlifting wasn't horrible, but yeah, double unders was a bad spot. So I was just trying to figure out my own issues, and love it now. It's turned into a nice lifestyle for us, but and that didn't start out that way.
It sounds originally like, from what you were saying earlier before we started the show, this wasn't really intended to be a business from the beginning. You were kind of just making something for yourself and trying to just find something that was working for you. And as it got better and better and better, more people started asking you about it, and you started making them for other people, and then it kind of just spiraled out of control, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you wrapped it up in a nutshell. I mean, it was just one of those things where it was really a hobby at the beginning. I didn't know what I was doing, and I had a couple of guys that work with us here were my workout buddies back in the day, and I just started goofing around. Well, it started off actually buying different one, like what's on the market. I'm not doing well with what's in the gym. Of course, a lot of gyms spend very little on their jump ropes back then. This is back in '08. Everybody's used to a $5 jump rope back then. So
yeah, they're all tied in knots and messed up.
Exactly.
I got to shorten this
they're
a
all
little bit. Tie a
broken,
couple more
broken
knots
and
in
fraying and knotted up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was
Because they're all one length.
right.
Nobody buys multiple length jump ropes. They're all the same length.
That was so true. Yeah, back at that in that era. So it's funny because it's funny that I still encounter that now when we visit gyms. If they don't say have one of our packages, which are pretty organized, but there will be that one oddball jump rope that everybody seems to have success with, and so they run and try and get that one first. And so yeah, so trying to figure out, for me personally, well, I'm thinking I'm decent at jump rope, so I should be good at this. Figured it wasn't entirely the equipment, so it was a combination of both. It was things that I wasn't paying attention to mechanically, and there were things with the equipment that weren't allowing me to do better or be more consistent. So it's really just trying to analyze that and break things down and figure out how to we always say minimize variables, right? To keep things simple.
Mhm.
How do you minimize variables and make things just a lot more simple and practical and repeatable?
Mhm.
So yeah, I just went from that perspective. And the funny thing is everybody in the gym thought we were, well, me specifically, but then the guys that I sucked in with me, they would laugh at us. What are you doing? You made another jump rope. Why are you doing that? They just go buy one.
Mhm.
And so we laugh about that. We're all still friends today, and anytime I'm thinking of something new or developing something new, um, they'll laugh at me again. Like really, like I cut my sleeves off my sweatshirt because I have this idea that I've been working on for a couple years now, and cut my sweatshirt sleeves off, and I was using the leftover parts for something, during a workout, and my workout buddies, they're all laughing at me. What are you doing? I'm like, yeah, you're laughing now. You'll see. I got a good idea. So yeah. So yeah. You know what? Like I mentioned earlier, people will sometimes assume like, oh, you were this brilliant guy that saw a need and filled a need. Not the case at all. I was just this horrible jump roper that was getting tired of getting laughed at in the gym, and I solved my own problem. So all
Mhm.
the efforts went into that, and it was just luck and timing. Timing was really prime to be in it at that time. When things
Mhm.
were kicking off. So
Sure. I mean, certainly luck won't take you from having a jump rope you built in your garage to having a fucking super awesome company. Luck's a factor with the timing and whatnot, but after that, you actually have to like dig your heels in and make something happen. Like you got to follow good business practice, you got to execute, you got to recruit a team, you got to build a company. So I like that you guys were so product focused in the beginning, and that's what you have to do. You got to have a good product, but then you got to put some powerful sales and marketing behind it. You got to get in the market, and there's so many other things you have to do. So certainly not all luck, even though we are all very lucky in many ways with how we got off the ground with our companies.
sure, no, really good point. Yeah, you're right. Really focusing on the product was the easy part because that was the fun part. It's like, oh, it's a hobby. It's just cool. And you were making something, and then you can get immediate feedback of whether it was good or bad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, when it got to the point that more and more people, I mean, at the beginning I gave away more jump ropes than I can even count because I was flattered. Literally like, really, you want this piece of crap?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
So I, would just make one and bring it back to the gym next day, and so I think giving away a lot of free ones brought a lot of karma. Definitely
Yeah.
helped. But you're right. So then it became a matter of as demand grew, it was very reactionary on our part. It's like, oh crap, now we got to make 20 of these. Oh, now we got to make 100 of them. Now we got to make 1,000 of them. So everything was very reactionary and haphazard. I mean, I did not have a background in retail sales or manufacturing or engineering for that matter. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a fun learning experience though.
Yeah.
No complaints at all.
Sounds like you guys were listening though, and that's something that I think a lot of times people who want to go into business, if they're focused on going into business and not as product focused as you were, or whatever, a lot of times people they're not listening. It sounds like you heard what the market was saying and you responded to it. So you're saying reactionary, but you were listening. I think a lot of times people get so focused in what they're doing that people are telling them what they want and they're just not hearing it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're like really open to hearing what the market wants and providing just that. I think it's fascinating too that like you were solving your own problem. Like you were hyper focused on a problem you have, and I think that a lot of times when we're experiencing something, it's universal. So you're not the only guy like with the jump rope
Right.
problem, but you're so hyper focused on this niche issue, and then everyone goes, "Oh shit! I didn't even know I really had a problem
Mm-hmm.
until there was a solution that was presented." So I
Right.
think that's really cool.
Yeah. No. Great perspective. I think you hit it on the head. And I think for us, what was different from the get-go was we kind of approached it very service-oriented, not product-oriented. Because, like I said, the product was never intended to be for sale. I was amazed that people wanted to buy it. So when people were inquiring about it, we're one of the only companies on the market that purposely makes a non-adjustable jump rope. Okay, it's a fixed length, and that's something a lot of us that were really competitive into CrossFit and had a rope come apart on us during a workout. We just said, well, we can control that. Don't make it adjustable. set it to your length,
Right.
figure out what you need. So with that comes a lot of challenges because, we're going to send something out to somebody that we hope they can use, and so we have to educate them to make sure they can, right? So it's just this weird revolving circle of not knowing how you jump. We created our own template and kind of our own calculation of what we think should fit your size, and then from that, we have to try and tweak a little bit based on your technique or skill level. But there's a big difference between proficient and efficient. And we more often deal with people who are proficient, meaning, okay, they can perform the movement, but with really horrible form, and they don't know it. It's like, well, I can do 100 in a row. What are you telling me? I can do 100 double unders in a row, but horrible form. No concept of ideal mechanics or efficiency or energy saving, whatever. So for us, we want you to be able to use our product, so we need to coach you. And people that are newer and really don't know what they need and look to us for guidance, we try and tell them, well, here's what we think you should use, but it can't stop there because we have to tell them how to use it. So there's a big disconnect. Every rope we sell, we give a free cable exchange. So if you follow our recommendations and you purchase it based on what we say you should use, and you get it and you say, well, I can't use it, it's too short. That's the most common thing. People misplace their arms and make the rope too short, right? So common. So we're great. Send us the rope back or the cable, and we'll send you whatever you want, no questions asked. And we've been doing that for 8 years. But a lot of times, and what we're trying to do more is just, again, educate. So it's whether we put stuff out on our own, social media or our website or whatever, or sometimes I'll pick up the phone. If a customer calls in, I'll pick up the phone and I want to talk to my own customers and see what's going on. I used to do that back in the day, and then now we have a staff that handles it. And I'll talk to somebody who says, yeah, I don't tell them I'm the owner of the company either. I just answer like I'm one of the customer service reps, and typically get the call, yeah, I followed your recommendations, I bought it, and it just doesn't work. It's not the right size. I need it 2 inches longer. Something ridiculous, because it just doesn't make that big a difference.
Right.
It's easily solvable. And so what I'll try and do is coach them on the phone, without making them feel like, hey, I don't want to give you what you want. Like I'll right up front say, I will give you whatever you want, not a problem. However, try this, take my recommendation, look at this video on our website, or, do this or do that, and I'll give some suggestions. And more times than not, it works out fine. We'll never hear from them again, or people will walk in our door. So for us, I kind of took the long way around. A lot of it started with education, and when you educate people and I, give you our product and show you how to use it, and you have great success right away, there's no selling involved. You're like, great. Yep. Where do I pay?
Yeah. So, and it sounds like an additional challenge in this type of product. It's not, to me, it's not like selling pull-up bars or a barbell where you get it to the person, and there's not different sizes or anything like that to deal with, and you're having to not only are you having to size it, but the size is gonna be impacted by their technique, and so now you have this. I never even considered there's so many variables in the business that you're in, and it's now becoming obvious to me just in this little bit of conversation why other people haven't jumped in and dominated it maybe as much as you have, because you're willing to just every time there is an issue, it sounds like you've done a good job solving it with the business.
Yeah. And I can tell you too from my own personal experience, and when we opened Active years ago, we actually bought, my partner and I had your ropes, which we got from a competition back in 2010. You were selling ropes, and we bought some, and we were like, finally someone made a real jump rope. Cool. We loved the product. And then when we opened our affiliate, we actually ordered your, we did first before we bought the whole set, you guys actually weren't doing that quite then yet with the rack and everything. Yep. So we just did a bulk order. So we basically literally used your videos that you created. We sent them out to our entire member base, and we trained people on how to do it, on how to measure, make your measurements, then come in and we'll remeasure and make sure everything's good. Placed an order for 60 or 70 jump ropes back in the day. It was awesome. And it was so cool that because you led with the education, you led with, well, here, let's just show you how to, do double unders or how to measure. And those couple videos that you had, they're probably still in circulation in our like email campaigns, like for our newsletters whenever we would send this out.
Well, I appreciate that. I love you, and you probably helped pay for my kids, college tuition.
Probably.
So,
yeah, but we just had such a great experience that we eventually then went and we ordered the full set, and we would place numerous orders. And because when we did that initial order, there were some people who were like, "Oh, the rope was too short," and it was non-issue. And I was like, "Oh man, we've got like 20 people. This is going to be like a huge pain in the butt to go through and deal with customer service." Not even an issue whatsoever. It was like, "Cool, what did you need?" And it was handled.
Cool.
So we had a great experience as a customer, and uniquely too, like because you here in Southern California, we've kind of been in the same scene for almost a decade at this point, between local comps and just having kind of watched you really in a very like organic way, just kind of show up as just, hey, I just make a really cool thing and it's awesome, and then hey, we made this other new thing, and everything always just seemed to be based on a need rather than just like, oh, we're just cranking out products and whatnot. And it always led with the service piece. So I was always super impressed since day one.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That means a lot because, we don't get it right all the time, I mean, we try. And, I think we approach it. Everybody pretty much that works here they're either a family member or they're somebody from the gym. We're all in the same community, the same circle. So, everybody wants to help. And bottom line is we want people to enjoy their experience with us, right? So, having that kind of an impact hopefully will just lead to more referrals. They'll want to send more people to us. So we don't need to chase anybody. They'll come to us. I mean, that's always, you take care of people and they usually take care of you. So I'm glad you had a good experience. I wish 100% of them were like that, but I think we have a pretty high percentage. I'd say 99%. We try and leave people with a good taste in their mouth, So
yeah, being product focused from the beginning, I'm curious to hear, what was the evolution like for your jump ropes? Like the ones you were giving away to people, 10 years or so ago were likely not the same quality of the ones you're selling these days. How has what you're selling evolved over the years?
Really funny you say that because actually, by the time I got to a point to where we were selling these, like, wow, people want to buy these. Let's figure out how to make them more, in higher, quantities. It's such you guys, I just took you through the gym and you just saw, or excuse me, through the workshop. It's a very simple arrangement, There's no, like I said, I'm not an engineer. There's no rocket science to it. But as I was, testing out all the different products that were out there and trying to figure out, well, what I liked about this one but didn't like about that one, and what things would integrate well together. Again, for me, very selfish endeavor. Once I got to the assembly that we have now, like I didn't invent the handle. People think I invented that shape of handle. That had been on the market for years. It happened to be the handle that I liked the most, and it was the most versatile for me to try and apply the different components to it. And I think I like to take credit for I created the idea of wrapping it with the tape grip because those handles originally came with like a little foam sleeve,
I remember those.
Yeah, you see them in the stores now.
Nobody likes those.
And right. And they slip off,
Yep.
So when that happened to me, I thought, well, found tennis tape grip, and I thought, what sport relies on their grip on a handle more than, arguably than anything than tennis, right? So it just made sense. So wrapped in, it's like, wow, it feels good. Oh, I can do colors. So the funny thing is now, there are companies out there that have been around longer than me, and they're starting to copy that because they're like, it's kind of smart,
Oh, yeah.
Why not do it? So
You said all your handles are hand wrapped even to this day, right?
yeah, they're all hand wrapped, exactly. So we have an awesome staff that they sit in there and they're very meticulous, and they're very specific about how they wrap it and make sure it's quality when it goes out the door. So so as far as when we finally started putting it on the market, honestly, it was almost what it is now, and that's something that's been really interesting because we're going on, well, 7, almost 8 years with that product where maybe we changed some of the graphics on it or got different colors, or we've added or manipulated some of the cable thickness to get the right feel. But for the most part, it's the same product, and it's interesting that you kind of hit on that because that's something that as a business owner and selling a product, you're always looking at what's out there, who's your competition, what's on the market next, and you see all these other companies coming out with another version and a newer version and a 3.0 version, and here we are 7-8 years later, and it's like, well, we've got a new color, new color handle or new color cable, but I keep getting back to, well, it just works really well. That's kind of the whole problem. It works really well. What can I change on it, So we haven't for 7 or 8 years. However, looking at what we've done and what's out there and what else can we do and what else will people maybe like to see from us. So we have a couple of new products coming out this year. In fact, I don't know when this is going to air, but by the time it airs, one of them might already be out. I'm hoping it is, that we're super excited about.
Can we talk about it?
A little bit, yeah.
Let's take a break and then we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
My name is Meg Herman. I am the co-owner of Reebok CrossFit Coastal Carolina on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. I am here to tell you what a difference Barbell Logic has made to our business in the last 8 months. In that time period, we have grown by 67 new members. That's net new members. And our revenue, top line revenue, is up 31%. When I first met the Barbell Logic team, I was the quintessential harried entrepreneur doing just about everything you can think about in the gym to keep it going, to keep it growing. So I thought. It was a real struggle, constantly coaching, accounting, cleaning, doing all those things. And what I was recognizing at that point was we weren't growing. And I was working really hard in the business, but not on the business. So when I met Barbell Logic, we spent a great deal of time talking about best practices. How do we really create the systems that help us run the gym and create the growth and the profitability that we need? We spent a ton of time talking about best practices, talking about the systems that you need to run a gym effectively and to grow and to focus on growth. And every market's different. My demographic is different from yours and from the next person's gym. But the key is to create the systems that are going to work for you. When I met the Barbell Logic team, I really feel like I gained a team of consultants, people that were ready to help us and create those ideas. And then we implemented the tool. But the first thing that happens is we redesign the website, and our website is killer. It is very interactive. It's actually a lot of fun, but most importantly, there's several calls to action. Some people come to the website and they're not quite ready to sign up for that free week. They can interact with a video or they can download an ebook. It's a lot of fun. They can get a lot of information. But as soon as they start giving us their information about who they are, they're a part of our system, and then we have them to talk with over time, so that eventually they come in. And it's beautiful. The whole thing works without me doing anything at all. All right, so then the next thing that happened is we really started working on our systems. The new client experience, the new athlete experience is crucial. It's crucial in gaining new members. And I feel like we've got a really good system that's in place for when a new athlete comes into our gym, and it's 90% automated. That means I only have to touch it here and there and make a quick phone call, reach out, find out how people are doing. This has made all the difference. We also have a real referral program. We're sending out surveys on a regular basis, and we're talking to our athletes, retaining our athletes and giving them good information along the way. It's working really, really well. Our visitors, when they come to the website, know exactly what to do, and we talk to them on a regular basis before they come in. The visitor piece was really huge for us in our vacation land of Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. What I want to tell you most about if you're running your business without a funnel of new athletes, a sales funnel, you're really missing the boat. I feel like what Barbell Logic has provided us is an enterprise level solution for a small business, right? Every day I go into my dashboard and I look and see who's interacting with us, who needs a phone call, who might be coming to visit the gym this, the next day or so. And I have a couple of touch points to work on so that I have a continuous process and a continuous sales funnel and a continuous stream of new athletes. The key to growth, I believe, is to be able to focus on that on a daily basis and to keep improving and keep working at it. And we at Reebok CrossFit Coastal Carolina, we're not going to stop. I really feel like we are on a pathway to control this marketplace and to be the CrossFit in our area. And I owe a lot of that to the folks at Barbell Logic. And if you want to improve your gym and if you want to have that kind of stability in your market, I highly recommend you get on a call with Barbell Logic. I feel like this is the tool you need to grow.
And we're back. Talking about the jump rope empire. You went really niche into one piece of equipment. Have you ever been tempted to do any other type of equipment?
We have a bunch of other stuff. Did you look on our website?
No.
No.
Oh, come on, Mike.
Come on. We have like 4 or 5 patents on products now, and yeah, you know what? Actually, what's really
He's throwing you
I did-
softballs.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what's going on over here?
yeah, you were actually playing around on one of our inventions.
Oh, this right here.
yeah.
I did see it on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about how much sleep I got last
So
night.
Okay, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that you guys.
How little.
You guys were the people that came up with those.
Yeah.
That created and patented those.
yeah.
We have those at the gym too.
Yeah.
We bought all your guys' stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, they work good, don't they?
They're
If
fantastic.
you use them, they work good.
Yeah, they work great.
We're actually we're redesigning it and improving it to make it more versatile. So it'll.
Which I
So,
want to comment on something before we continue on with that, because you said something in the last segment where you're like, oh, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a this or that. You guys, this place looks like it is run by an engineer or engineers. You guys you solve little problems everywhere. Everything
Yeah.
you guys have, I'm like, oh, is that rack for sale? You're like, no, that's just a better way to do it for here. Is this for sale or is this the thing? You guys have little things everywhere, even in your production. The way you guys are mounting your spools and running your cables, you're explaining, oh, this is like the 6th or the 7th iteration of this one because we can do more spools. You guys are you're totally an inventor and an engineer. You might not have maybe gone to school for it, but that's definitely your jam, man. You're crushing it here.
Well, yeah, appreciate it. I don't know. It's funny. I'm half Asian and I'm not good at math, so kind of blowing stereotypes everywhere. But yeah, I think it's just I think having a gymnastics background and analyzing in gymnastics, you analyze every. I mean, I'm sure you do in jiu-jitsu. Every micro movement you are managing and you are trying to correct or improve or strengthen. Every little joint, every little angle. So, doing that for over a decade, I think maybe lends itself to other applications. So, but to answer your question, yeah, we have. But there's a funny story about that because obviously the jump rope thing kind of took a life of its own, and we're just holding onto the coattails and running with it. So, I remember the first time we were. Somebody's interested in buying one, and I think one of my workout buddies is like, you should put these on Facebook, and I'm like, well, what's Facebook? And they go, okay, we'll make you a page. So they made me a Facebook page, and then we put a picture of a jump rope on there, and all of a sudden somebody wants to buy one, and it was funny because they're like, well, what's your company called? I don't know. So we came up with RX jump ropes. Literally just pulled it out of our butt because we were all in love with CrossFit, and RX was the golden chalice to chase. So anyway, I started bringing these other products to market as RX jump ropes, and we thought, well, that's kind of weird. Like, we're a jump rope brand, but then I have these other cool things that I think are cool anyway, because they're things that pretty much everything is something that I made for me, for my own experience, to try and solve my own problem. And then we'd get around to going, well, you know what, maybe there's probably other people that have the same problem. Let's put it out on the market. So, a couple of years in, we did a name switch over from RX jump ropes to RX SmartGear, just like the word smart, I don't think I'm brilliant, but I think I'm smart, Yeah, so we like to think.
Smart enough.
Right, smart enough.
Yeah.
We like to think that the things we come up with are at least smart. So
So a second ago, for the people that are listening audio only, they don't know what the heck we were just talking about when we were pointing to the rings. What are those called? Those.
So those are we call them smart rings. You know, that word smart again, but they're muscle up rings, and you know, all it is intended to do is provide a progression, an intermediate progression, because you know, when I was coaching gymnastics and you know, you're teaching young kids muscle ups, you know, kids are light, they're strong for their body weight, they're flexible, you know, pliable, and they're just little sponges, and they can learn those things pretty fast. And then,
Hate those kids.
right? Seriously, seriously. So
Yeah, every time you see like a 6-year-old doing like a planche, you're just like, oh, shit.
yeah, but you know, they basically have the strength to weight ratio of a fly. You know, so,
exactly.
you know, so I'm not impressed by them, but no, it is impressive. But you get into CrossFit, and that's where you start realizing, wow, now we have 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old, you know, people who are not flexible, not light, not as strong for their body weight and whatnot, and there really was no intermediate progression, you know, to learn a muscle up. And again, that's one of those other things. Everybody wants a muscle up, and you know, the one thing I love CrossFit. I've been doing it for, you know, going on 9 years. But the one thing I don't like about CrossFit is everybody wants to fast track, you know? They want to get that skill. I want to get that RX, so I want that skill. So, you know, people start jumping ahead of foundational work to really get their bodies prepared. So I'm a firm believer you should learn how to do a strict muscle up before you do a kipping muscle up. I mean, they're really two different skills in my mind, but I think a strict muscle up there's just more efficacy and it's safer, you know, for your body. And when you learn a strict muscle up, that lends itself to learning a kipping muscle up, where I don't think it's opposite. You know, if you learn a kipping one first, you're just heaving your body up. They're using momentum, right? And it's just far more dangerous, especially if you don't have good ring stability when you're up in support. So, so that I you know, really that's the one invention that I'm most proud of, because especially, you know, coaching gymnastics 20 years ago for over a decade and being really deep in that industry, you know, there wasn't anything like this. So to me, this was really new, you know, and, you know, jump rope's been around forever. But yeah, I'm really proud of this, that product.
Yeah. Well, cool. So you got the smart rings, you got the jump ropes. What else do you guys have?
Smart rings, you know, shin guards. I made my own shin guards. Actually, went to first did a rope climb workout and burned the crap out of my legs.
That'll happen.
Yeah, right. Especially, you know, and again at that time you know, in the early stages, there wasn't really anything available. Now there's a slew of products, great products out there. But so I went to a surplus store, and I know you were in the service. I'm not sure who else was, but you'll remember I found these canvas gaiters that were like for the color guard or whatever.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
They had
that makes sense.
They had the hiking boot little clips, you know, that you lace up like a hiking boot, and it had a stirrup that went under your boot and clipped. And so I found some of those, and I'm like, I don't know what these are, but I think I could use them, you know. So took them home, and I ripped off all the rivets, and I cut off the stirrup, stitched my own Velcro on there, and slapped it on my shin, and, you know, rope climb away. And I used those for years. They were awesome. They were ugly, but they worked phenomenally. So, you know, a couple of years into this business, we're like, hey, you know what? We should try and refine that product and then bring it out. And we did, and we're on to our second version of that, a much better version of that as well. You know, wrist supports. I mean, there's a lot of different, you know, things out there for that, but I created my own just because of my own unique. I have a weird little drop in my wrist bone here, and so most, you know, wrist supports wouldn't really give me any help there. So I, you know, just took a long sweatband that really molds to that shape, and then added some, you know, Velcro and strapping to it, and voila, you know, it worked good. So just different things like that. Recently, we released a gymnastics grip, a couple of versions of a gymnastics grip, which honestly, I probably started developing gymnastic grips before anything else. Anybody that gets into CrossFit for the first time, first thing you experience probably are torn hands, you know. And I just thought that was ridiculous. Like, that's just stupid. You know, I like working out, and it's hard. That's cool, but I don't need to walk away mutilated as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
It
started.
feels good though.
Yeah.
Badge of honor.
Yeah, exactly. The old badge of honor.
I earned this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got over there. I'm a wimp when it comes to that. I don't mind pouring my sweat, but not my blood. So yeah, so I started working on some type of a hand protection or grip protection well before the jump ropes. Funny thing is, the jump ropes just kind of took a life of their own, and all focus and attention went to that. And I'd always tinker and play around with new type of palm grips, but I'd see a lot of stuff hit the market, and really it's a lot of retread of what's already out there. They
Yeah.
just slap a different name on it or a different color or whatever. It was nothing new, and at the time I didn't think I had anything new to bring to the market, so I would just make my own prototypes, and I would use them for quite a while, or let some of the guys in here use them. But then this last year at the games, I finally was ready to release our new grip, which we brought a few new wrinkles to it because we wanted it to be effective, and so we're the first ones to come up with something that actually retains the grip. If you're in a CrossFit workout and you're on the bar, pull-up bar, great. But when you come off the bar, you don't want your grips on your hands for whatever the next movement might be. We'd see a lot of athletes just pull them off and either spin them around to the backside of their hands so they're flopping, or they would just leave them under and let them flop. So we just added an elastic band, so you just tuck it under the band and it just rolls it up on your wrist and keeps it contained. So I was pretty, a real simple concept, but very effective. So we released it at the games. We had several of our athletes use them during Murph for the first time. And some people who don't even, like China Cho, she would not wear them because she's like, Dave, I don't ever wear grips. She goes, I never tear. She did Murph at the games in 2015 in the heat of the sun.
Yeah.
One of the few people didn't tear. This year, for whatever reason, she decided to try the grips during Murph, and this year in 2016, they did Murph in the morning, so the grass was still wet, and so used them. And she texted me immediately after she finished that event, and she said, "Oh my God, those things were amazing." Because the grass was wet, when they get off the pull-up bar, she would just tuck them under. It would keep them out of the way. They were dry. She would do her push-ups and then squats and then back to the bar. So, so it was cool validation that they used it at the highest level. Some people used it and really enjoyed it and benefited from it. So just trying to have introduce something new but useful. Not new just to be new,
Right.
but something that really has an effective impact.
I've talked to business owners a lot of times that may be experiencing a business problem, and the perceived solution is create more products. And for the purpose of maybe filling some holes in the business, I like how you're taking the approach of you only create a new product when there's this unique need and you have this unique way of solving the problem, which is really cool. Like your whole business model is just like coming like solidifying in my mind as we're having this conversation. It's like, oh, this guy just solves problems. Like if you own a gym, everything that you make is probably going to solve some problems for your athletes. It's going to make their life a little more enjoyable, which is pretty cool. And you haven't really had a lot of, I guess, breadth in your product offering. You only have a handful of items, which is really cool. And I want to talk about, so a lot of times people like to go wide, but you're going deep. So you really conquered the CrossFit market with the jump ropes, and you're going even deeper by going into different verticals. I guess you could say went with USA Wrestling, USA Boxing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I want to hit on one point that you mentioned that it was very, very keen for you to point that out. We actually feel that we're not in the business of jump ropes, and not trying to be philosophical or anything like that, but we actually had a big staff meeting and sat down and really delved into this. We feel we are in the solution business. That's really what we're about. I mean, the jump rope was simply a solution to a problem that I was having originally, and now we're finding everybody else has. So that's the whole goal. Everything else, you're right. It's really trying to find a solution. And getting into the verticals, last year we were really honored to become the official jump rope for USA Boxing, which was really cool. They they reached out to us, and well, there's a whole story behind that for another episode. But it was a really cool link up the way we got together, and then they brought us in and partnered with us. And since then, USA Wrestling has reached out, and we actually just signed the partnership with them for actually with 4-year partnership. So we're going to take it all the way through the 2020 Olympics, and we're excited about that partnership as well. And there's others out there we're looking to, but CrossFit's phenomenal. We love the CrossFit market because I don't know that there are many other fitness. I mean, the grand scheme of things, I think CrossFit is very small, right?
Yeah,
You guys probably agree as far as the fitness realm, but I think it's the one fitness market that is very in tune with what everybody's doing. You know what I mean? I don't think people go to a 24-hour fitness and there's a whole group of people on treadmills that follow each other. It's a very viral community in that aspect. So as far as getting your message out there, that's pretty cool. So looking for other organizations or influencers out there that have that same kind of reach is definitely something we want to get involved with, and especially, established groups. So the Olympic movement, love it. I mean, obviously any patriot would want to be involved, with their Olympic teams. So, we just recently partnered with American Athletics, and that's near and dear to my heart because having a gymnastics background, AAI has been like the primo gymnastics equipment. I mean, if you look at it's predominantly in the U.S., any large competition in the U.S., they sponsor all the equipment. So on the floors, you'll see AAI. I mean, that's just, for me, that's an iconic brand. And so they reached out to us and said, hey, we want you to be our first retailer in the CrossFit market. And we think we have some of our products that will cross over into the fitness world. And we want you to, present them. So we're pretty stoked about that. That's what that little contraption in the corner there is. It's an Alpha handstand trainer that rocks back and forth. I'm going to have each of you guys try that later.
Yeah. Cool. Perfect. I'm on it.
Yeah,
Doug first.
Doug's first.
Doug faked an injury just to get out of it, I see. So,
Yeah, and I just want to point out, I mean, I think a lot of times business owners get hyper focused, and I need to do, grow this way, and you're growing in a few different directions, which is pretty cool.
Trying to, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely trying to.
Any new products you want to tell us about now?
Sure. We have, so we introduced the Zeus jump rope, kind of grabbed some legs last year, and they used a version of it. It wasn't our rope, it was Rogue's rope, but it was modeled after what we, produced after Dave Castro came in and did a workout here with us, but it was a half-pound cable. And so now we're going to be bringing out Zeus's bigger brother and Zeus's dad. Zeus feel like a speed rope, and it's an awesome training modality. It really is. And I have a whole idea about the jump rope that I don't know if you want to get into now, but with regard to treat jump rope like an accessory.
Right.
It's like it's my shoe, matches my outfit, and they're very personal. And we've built a business on that. That's why we offer so many colors and variations. But really, it's just a piece of equipment, to help you get fit. And I think too many people put it in this little bubble that, I need my jump rope to feel exactly like this every time I use it. And our approach is, no, you should use a lot of different jump ropes, different lengths, different thicknesses, different speeds, whatever, if you really want to make yourself well-rounded,
Yeah.
So, it's a catch-22 because we like the customization factor that people really enjoy, but really it's just a fitness tool. It's a barbell. You don't lift the same weight on your barbell every day. You don't swing the same kettlebell weight every day. So same thing with the jump rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
cool.
got two different ropes. I got one of the lighter ones, one of the bigger ones. Now I feel like I need to get the really big ones because I did swing one of the big ones and it was
It's fun.
it was heavier than anything I'm used to right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
Where can people find out more about any of your equipment?
RX jump ropes.
Living in the past.
Yeah. You guys, brought up all these old emotions and memories. Yeah, RX SmartGear. www.rxsmartgear.com is where you can find most of our stuff, and some stuff that's not out yet, but will be out in a month or two. Pretty excited about. So or come on down to El Cajon.
Yeah.
Which is, I appreciate you guys coming down all the way from the coast, because people that live by the beach or OC or wherever, they think this is like driving to Arizona,
Kind of was.